Let me paint a picture. Your parent fell, or forgot their medication, or left the stove on, or got lost driving. And now the entire family is panicking. You're texting siblings, you're researching options, you're losing sleep. And when you finally sit down with your parent and say, maybe it's time to get some help, they say, I'm fine. I don't need anyone. Stop treating me like a child. And now you feel stuck because the risk feels real, but the resistance is louder. Today, we're going to talk about what's actually happening when a parent refuses help, why pushing harder often backfires, and the scripts and timing strategies that actually work. Hi, I'm Corpus, a Senior Transition Specialist and Seniors Real Estate Expert based in the San Francisco Bay Area. I work with families across Contra Costa, Alameda, Santa Clara, San Mateo, and San Francisco counties who are navigating some of the most emotionally complex transitions of their lives. And one of the most common and painful patterns I see is this. The family is panicking, the parent is resisting, and everyone feels misunderstood. This is another episode of Sandwich Generation Solutions powered by the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast, where we bring clarity to the emotional side of senior care. Let's dive in. Most adult children assume refusal means denial. Sometimes it does, but more often it means fear. Here's what your parent might actually be thinking. If I accept help, I'm admitting I'm declining. If I let someone move in, I'm losing control. If I move, I'm losing my identity. If I say yes, I become a burden. For many seniors, especially in high-achieving Bay Area communities, independence has been their identity for decades. So when you say you need help, what they hear is you can't handle your life anymore. That hits deep. So why do families panic faster than parents? Here's the disconnect. Families see risk. Parents feel loss. You're thinking, what if they fall again? What if something worse happens? What if we waited too long? Your parent is thinking, I'm still me. I don't want strangers in my home. I don't want my life shrinking. So when panic meets pride, you get conflict. The more urgent you sound, the more defensive they become. There are three psychological drivers behind most resistance. 1, control. Aging often feels like control slipping away. Refusing help is a way to reclaim it. 2, identity. I've always been the provider. I've always taken care of others. Now you're asking them to reverse roles. 3, timing. You may be emotionally ahead of them by 6 months or a year. Families often grieve decline before parents do. That timing mismatch creates tension. So, what not to say? Let me save you from common mistakes. Don't say, you're not safe, you can't live like this, you're being stubborn, you have no choice. Those phrases trigger defensiveness, even if they're true. So instead of confrontation, try collaboration. Instead of authority, try curiosity. Here are scripts that work better. Instead of, you need help, try, I've been feeling anxious about you being alone. Can we talk about what would make both of us feel more comfortable? Instead of, you can't drive anymore, try, what would it look like to add just a little extra support, not change everything? Small entry points reduce resistance. So, timing. Let's talk about that. Timing matters more than persuasion. The best window for change often comes after a fall, after a hospitalization, after a near miss, and after they admit feeling tired. Those moments create openness. Not because they're weak, but because reality briefly interrupts denial. The mistake families make, they either push too early or wait until crisis. There's a middle window, and that's where progress happens. So let's talk about when refusal is actually cognitive decline. Here's an important distinction. If refusal is paired with significant memory issues, paranoia, poor judgment, inability to understand risk. That may not be pride. That may be cognitive decline. In those cases, the approach shifts. It becomes less about persuasion and more about safety planning. That's where care managers, physicians, and sometimes legal guidance come into play. But most refusal I see, it's emotional, not neurological. Now, here's the bigger truth. Here's what I tell families. You can't force emotional readiness. You could only build conditions that make it safer to say yes. That means repeated, calm conversations, small support introductions, respectful tone, involving trusted third parties, and sometimes I'll suggest having the doctor recommend support instead of the child. Sometimes I'll suggest framing home care as help around the house instead of caregiving. Language changes perception. And what if they still say no? Then you focus on what you can control. You reduce risks quietly, install grab bars, simplify medications, adjust driving exposure, and build backup plans. And you keep the relationship intact. Because if you destroy trust, you lose influence. And influence is what eventually moves decisions. So today we covered why parents refuse help, why families panic, the psychology behind resistance, what not to say, scripts that work better, how timing changes everything, and how to protect both safety and dignity. Refusal doesn't always mean denial. Often it means fear, and fear needs reassurance, not force. This has been another episode of Sandwich Generation Solutions powered by the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast. If your family is navigating resistance, tension, or uncertainty around next steps, I can help you think through it calmly and strategically. Schedule a free consultation and learn more about my services at www.simplifyseniortransitions.com. You could also watch and listen to the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast right here on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. If this episode resonated, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Reviews help more families find the show before stress turns into crisis. I'm Dale Corpus, and I'll see you on the next episode.